David. Well, haven't you been wondering what Matt Gaetz has been up to these days? Apparently he was on Newsmax talking about, on Wednesday, talking about Trump's Iowa victory. And he was suggesting that as suburban white women leave the Republican Party, they will be replaced by Mexican or black men. His quote was actually really wild. Let's see if I can get to the quote here. In Iowa, the victory is so huge, and it really is a testament to the resiliency of the Trump voter. Because you had the worst conditions possible, historically challenging weather and ice, and these folks came out and voted overwhelmingly for the president. I've met with a lot of these folks. This is the blue-collar realignment of the Republican Party. And what I can tell you is for every Karen we lose, there's a Julio and a Jamal ready to sign up for the MAGA movement. And that bodes well for our ability to be more diverse and more durable as we head into not only the rest of the primary contests, but also the general election. Now, for those who don't know, Karen is a word for a very entitled white suburban woman. Let me speak to your manager is their battle cry. The reason why he's talking about more black and brown male voters coming out for him was that in 2020, Trump won 8% of the black voters and 30% of the Hispanic voters. Now, that doesn't say males. It's talking about blacks and Hispanics. In a recent poll, let's see, where is it? The Washington Post noted in September that Mr. Trump averaged 20% with black voters, up from 8%. Not exactly crushing it, but it's an improvement, I suppose. And he is now up to 42% with Hispanic voters, up from 36%. Again, it's improvement, but it means that 58% are not, do not think align with his ideology. Okay, so question I want to find out is that really is there really a movement amongst black and Hispanic males to align under Donald Trump? So what's the energy around black and Hispanic males and Donald Trump? Let's see what Spirit has to say. The world. Okay, so it's looking at immigration, things outside of the world. I'm wondering if I had this horrible thought. If you've ever heard the term pulling up the ladder behind you, it's kind of what Nikki Haley was referring to the other day. How she's saying, the U.S. isn't a racist country, and we don't. She's never experienced racism, and that we need to get rid of affirmative action, that sort of thing. It's like. Or even Clarence Thomas, affirmative action helped him get on the Supreme Court, and now he wants to get rid of it. They call that pulling up the ladder behind you so that the people behind you can't climb up the ladder to get to your level as well. It's classism. It's elitism. And often happens with immigrants because they don't want a lot of Hispanic folks, especially that are supporting Trump, that came over were wealthy. And they view these immigrants that are traveling thousands of miles and are illegal immigrants, they're peasants and they're beneath them. And so there's some classism that goes with this. World card. Crossed with the Seven of Swords. Yeah, so it's like some folks, they want to support Trump because they want to close off their world. They want to be like the last folks that benefit from something, and they don't want anybody else benefiting from it. It's almost like, because I benefit from this, I'm at a higher status, and if we get rid of that, anybody new coming in is beneath me. So there's kind of a theft there, the theft of opportunity. Yeah, and then it's greeting people coming in. So a lot of what we're seeing, the message that's coming across to me here is that they want to bring an end to people coming in because they're stealing your resources. And they could be stealing your prestige. A little quick sidebar here. My cousin's ex-husband was working in a shop. And this one guy was just hated all tax, very conservative, hated all taxes, hated all things. He did bodybuilding work, and he was very proud of his physique, and he had a great physique, and he would go into bodybuilding contests, and his mantra was he had nothing, and he built up his whole life to where he was now, and he didn't want any other social programs because he didn't have to go through it, so nobody else should benefit from it either. That's one way to look at it. The other way is, I went through this. I want these programs so people don't have to go through the same struggle I went through. It'll be easier for them. But the thing is, and I had pointed this out to my cousin and her ex-husband, that this guy, his whole ego was wrapped around his social status. I built up from everything and I made it up to here. So now if you have all these social programs and people come up to here, they're pretty much even with him. He had to work, and from his point of view, they got it for free. That's not fair. It undermines his narrative of being a self-made man. And that's where the ego comes in and just absolutely destroys people and ideology. It prevents people from loving. It causes fear. In the back, in the past, we've got the Three of Pentacles, kind of dark money group work. It's like backroom deals. Again, anybody... That's not to say any male or any minority male supporting Donald Trump is an awful person or anything along those lines. But there are some people who don't... there's black men who don't like black people. There's Mexican men who don't like Mexican people, or Hispanic men who don't like Hispanic people. But I think it's more, again, an elitism that they look at these other people as trash. Okay? And they want to keep the trash out. So, Ace of Wands. I think this is where Donald Trump and the GOP are making inroads, because what they're saying is they're going to, you can help us keep the trash out. We'll close off our borders. We'll prevent them from coming in and stealing stuff and getting handouts, which you deserve, but they don't deserve. And that also reminds me of like things I saw in Mississippi where they were talking about cutting Social Security, and they were talking with Trumpers in Mississippi who collected Social Security, and they just kind of like, well, yeah, that would suck, but oh well, that's the way it's going to be. They're more concerned about preventing other people from getting something and not as worried about them losing it. It's like, not like, oh, that would suck getting Social Security reduced. That would hurt for me. They're more like, yeah, that would suck for me, but I don't want this guy getting it. Punching down. Overarching energy is the Wheel of Fortune. I think what it is the reason why it's appealing to these men is that they think it'll improve their fortune, and they probably, you take a chance that if you align yourself with the Republican Party, you'll get as the fruit falls off the tree, you'll get first grab at it. But I also think it's a lack of opportunity for them. They don't see opportunities for themselves, so they have to align themselves with power. Align yourself with power, and that'll elevate you, and then you'll have more opportunities. Lesson to be learned is the Knight of Swords. Yeah, this might seem like a good idea on the short term, but as we all know, like with, as the saying goes, anything Trump touches dies. It's kind of that same thing. Go ahead and align yourself with the GOP. You can race forward and support them. And if they get in there, you're going to be the first person who's cut out of the pie. Because you're not a white male. You don't look like them. They might have and forgive how this sounds, but it's like Harlan Crow and the stuff, your token black friend or your token brown friend in the group. And that's pretty much what these guys are racing for. Outcome. Knight of Wands. I think Trump and the GOP will continue to make inroads for in the Black and Hispanic communities, especially with the men. Because, again, a lot of what the GOP is playing against is, keeping up the patriarchy and knocking women down. So between preventing immigration from coming in, so more minorities coming in, and preventing, limiting women's ability, it's elevating men up. And for Black and Hispanic men, it keeps them above the immigrants. Any immigrants that do come in are trash and they're below them. And then you keep women down. So by pushing other groups down, if they don't go down, then they're elevated. And that's what they're going for. But it's one of those things that it's, on the short term, that's great. But, when they start tightening the circle, and that invariably happens, here you go, you're tightening your circle. Are you MAGA enough? Are you extreme enough? Are you a rhino? The rhino test is basically, it's starting to cut around the fringes. And eventually, there's going to be more black and brown people cut off around the fringes because they're not white. Remember, this ultimately serves white men. If you're not a white man, you eventually will be cut out of the circle. Okay. Not the most enlightening topic, is it? Okay. What messaging can the Democrats do for the Black and Hispanic communities to make inroads and get support for the Biden administration and Democratic administrations in the future that would stem the support that black men are giving to the Republicans? Queen of Pentacles. Got to give them opportunities. Plain and simple. Financial opportunities. People get all bent out of shape when you talk about reparations. But it's not just reparations, but it's giving opportunities to folks so that life becomes more colorblind. One of the things that led into this was watching DeSantis talk about responding to Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley saying the U.S. has never been a racist country. And DeSantis has said, well, the founding fathers pictured this ideal society. We had challenges, but we've overcome them. It's like, yes, the U.S. is a racist society. We have laws that are racist. And we still have laws on the book that are racist. The incarceration of non-white men is magnitudes more than Caucasian men. And laws were written to be biased against folks. Poll taxes and things like that to prevent minorities from voting, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, we're a racist country, but we can do better. And, affirmative action, I get it. People want affirmative action to go away because we should be a colorblind society. That's perfect. We're not there yet. We're not even close to being there yet. I voted against affirmative action when I was younger because to me, it's like we didn't need it. It seemed to me that when I was going to school and in my circle, I didn't see people being mistreated for their skin color. But when I wasn't appreciating that, I was in a bubble. And, getting out of that bubble and going to school up in Oregon or, basically everything I've seen the last 10 years that makes me say, oh, racism's alive and well in the United States. I was wrong for not supporting affirmative action. I am absolutely in support of it now because once I changed my understanding and my parameters, I made an assumption that things were fair. Nope. Change that assumption. Things are not fair. Okay, yeah, then affirmative action needs to be in place. Until the playing field is level and it shows to be level and stable, we need programs in place to help folks that have been marginalized. So what do the Democrats need to do? They got to give them hope. They got to give them something to look forward to, something to value. Take some action with social programs or programs, whatever it is that you need to do to help these guys feel valued and have a chance to get ahead in the world. Give them a fighting chance. Give them a leg up. That's what affirmative action was supposed to do. It was supposed to help you get a leg up. Now, not everybody is college material, so don't make it just college admissions. There's got to be other programs too. Trade schools, low-cost business loans, stuff that makes being an entrepreneurial type person, there's an advantage to it. A pair of aces. It's the right thing to do. Make it a mission. To make it a mission, take some action, give them the advantages, or give them the place that they need to be in so they stand a fighting chance. And bring them in. It'll bring them in. Give them the opportunity. Give them the hope. Give them the opportunity. And then let them do the rest. So it's not like, here's $100,000. There, we're done. No. It's low interest loans. Maybe loans that are forgiven over time if they're doing certain things. Not talking handouts, talking opportunities. And that's kind of the whole thing. I was touching on reparations a little earlier. A lot of the stuff for reparations, I think people get all grumpy because like, oh, you're just going to give minorities $100,000, $1 million each, call $1 million each for stuff that their ancestors suffered that they never suffered. And that's not fair. Where's my $1 million, But that's not what I've seen reparations being. It's about low-cost business loans that are easier to qualify for. And those are great because now you're taking people that want to work, that want something better for themselves, and you're giving them an opportunity to get money easier so that they can get into a business. And if they work hard at that business and their business is successful, they will thrive and build up their community. That's what we're talking about. So, and there's more examples with that. And I forget the term, if it was redlining or something like that. There's something that was preventing minority people from buying houses in certain neighborhoods, or it was undervaluing their house if they were selling it in a neighborhood. And I forget the term. I'm sorry, I could look it up, I suppose, but you guys will know what I'm talking about. You just got to get rid of stuff like that to give folks a chance. Okay, I'm beating a dead horse here. I'll end it at this. But thank you very much. Is the Republican Party making headway with Black and Hispanic male voters? Yeah, it sure looks like it. And they'll continue to do so. How do you beat it? Give them something better. Give them something more tangible and better than hatred and punching down. And that will bring people back and supporting you. And that's what we want. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for all your shares and your comments and everything you do to feed the algorithm so my video makes it out to a wider audience. To folks just discovering this channel for the first time, thank you for finding us. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.